So you're moving to Hampton, Virginia. Whether you're PCSing the Langley Air Force Base, taking a new job at the shipyard, or maybe starting a new position in the school system, this video is for you. Today we'll cover the pros and cons of living in Hampton, Virginia. Stick around and we'll get right to it. My name is David Tortellini, and I help people just like you buy and sell property in Hampton, Virginia and the surrounding area. Before we get started, don't forget to subscribe and then call, text, or email when you're ready to make a move anywhere in Hampton Roads. That brings us to Hampton, Virginia, a city originally populated by the Powhatan peoples and settled by colonists all the way back in 1610, making it the oldest continuously populated English settlement in the United States. Hampton is located on the southeastern corner of the Virginia Peninsula in a region that we call Hampton Roads. With a population of just under 140,000, Hampton is best known as the home of Langley Air Force Base and most notably the F-22 Raptor, which you'll see flying overhead on a near daily basis. Hampton is also home to Hampton University, one of the premier HBCUs in the country. With over 400 years of history, a strong military presence, beaches, rivers, and a diverse population filled with people from all over the world, Hampton is a very unique city and one that you may love living in, or maybe not. Over time, Hampton has developed some really great aspects for living there, and some not so great things. Let's get into them. Pro number one are the beaches. There aren't many cities that can say they're home to not one, but three great public beaches. Hampton, Virginia is one of those cities. Whether you live in Hampton or anywhere on the peninsula, you're sure to find yourself at one of Hampton's three beaches all summer long. What I love about Hampton's beaches is they're all quite different from one another. First, you have Fort Monroe, which isn't one long continuous beach, but a series of small crescent-shaped beaches, along with one longer beach that's around the decommissioned Civil War era Pentagonal Army base. So not only do you get all these great beaches, but you get over 400 years of history with it, since the island has served many purposes since even before Hampton's founding. I mean, there's even a real-life moat there. How cool is that? I love Fort Monroe because the small crescent-shaped beaches have shallow water until you get out past the jetties, about 50 yards out, and almost no waves. Since I have a small child, we feel like this is easily the safest beach for her, and one where she can spend the day playing along the shoreline without getting swept out to sea. There's also a great brewery called Finch right on Fort Monroe, and one of my favorite restaurants, the Dead Rise. So once you're done at the beach, you can go grab a beer or some food without going far at all. If you go just back over the bridge to Mellon Street, you'll find a ton more food options and a cidery, which we'll talk more about in just a bit. Then you have Buckrow Beach. This is the most traditional beach, at least in my mind, of the three. The beach itself features a mile-long boardwalk, swings, playground, restrooms, along with a large pavilion for concerts and festivals, and a huge observation pier. Up until 1985, there was even a full amusement park here. I love this beach because of how active it is and the fact that the beach itself is really wide and flat, which makes it great for playing games and letting the kids run around. Buckrow has seen quite the revitalization over the past few years. New, large, beautiful beach houses went up to complement the older, very charming bungalows and cottages that date back to the 1930s. Then along North First Street, you'll find waterfront condos and gorgeous beachfront homes, including a gated section at the end. Buckrow is quickly becoming one of the best spots in the area. The third beach is called Grandview Beach, and it's part of Grandview Nature Preserve. To access this beach, you have about a 7 or an 8-minute walk down a winding path to get to a small, traditional beach where people like to lay out and relax. But the majority of this 2.5-mile long beach is mostly used for long walks, which eventually lead to a series of crescent-shaped beaches and jetties called Factory Point. Making the walk is totally worth it. It's absolutely gorgeous. In fact, it's where I proposed to my wife 12 years ago. If you don't like to sit still, this is the beach for you. Grandview is surrounded by an older beach community, as well as a beautiful newer community that even has its own private beach. So if you prefer something a little quieter and a little more luxury, this could be a great community for you. As you can see, some of the best beach living in Hampton Roads is right here in Hampton. Con number one, the schools. The schools in Hampton don't exactly have the best reputation. However, they're probably better than most people give them credit for. My wife taught elementary school in Hampton for 8 years, and we have more than a few friends who are teachers and administrators in Hampton. So I can say with firsthand knowledge, there are some really great people working in the Hampton school system. Niche.com gives the school system a solid B and ranks it as the 59th best school district in Virginia out of 131. While they did give Hampton a B- for academics and C+ for resources and facilities, it also received an A for diversity and for sports. Professional athletes like Allen Iverson, Gerard Mayo, and Tyrod Taylor all graduated from Hampton Public Schools. What the Hampton School District does have going for it is its magnet program, which anecdotally receives rave reviews, along with another program for high schoolers called the Academies of Hampton. According to the City School website, the Academies of Hampton provide students with a clear path for graduation and a smooth transition from high school to a post-secondary college or career field. I'll leave a link in the description so you can learn more about it. And I also have a friend who's heavily involved in this program. So if you'd like to learn more, just reach out and I'll connect you. But if you have kids, definitely do your research on the schools and figure out which ones are best for you and your family. Speak to principals, check multiple review sites, and try to speak with parents whose kids are currently in the school system to get a real understanding of the schools in Hampton. Pro number 2 are the restaurants. Hampton is unique on the peninsula for its fantastic, privately owned restaurants. While there are still plenty of chain restaurants in Hampton, if that's more your style, you'll also find a great variety of independent restaurants in the city. I already mentioned the Dead Rise on Fort Monroe, but just before you get onto Fort Monroe is a neighborhood called Phoebus. This neighborhood has grown into one of the premier dining spots in all of Hampton Roads. Stuffed, Mango, Fuller's Raw Bar, El Diablo Cantina, Slide Clyde Cidery are just a few of the food and drink destinations in this awesome neighborhood. Or you can head to downtown Hampton, where you'll find restaurants like Market 20, Brown Chicken Brown Cow, Venture, Bull Island Brewery, and the Vanguard, which is a top-notch restaurant, but also a brewery and distillery. That's probably my personal favorite spot in Hampton. Then if you do want to go to more of your traditional chain restaurants, head up to Mercury Boulevard in Peninsula Town Center, where you'll find just about every restaurant, both full service and fast casual, under the sun. Hampton is a great little food city, and if you like to eat out, this is a pretty awesome spot to be. Con number 2 is the age of the housing. The city of Hampton is over 400 years old. Relative to the age of the city, the housing is actually fairly new, but by modern American standards, it's pretty old. The bulk of the housing in Hampton was built in the 60s and 70s. Pretty much any brick home you find in Hampton was built during this time, and you'll find these homes everywhere. The late 80s and 90s saw another large round of building of what we would consider modern traditional homes. But you'll also find historic neighborhoods like Wythe, much of which was built in the 30s and 40s. And Hampton even has quite a few older homes than that, particularly near downtown, that were built at the turn of the 20th century. What Hampton doesn't have is new construction. Homes built in the past decade make up a very small percentage of the housing in the city of Hampton. While we do see a few spot builds or small clusters of new homes pop up, Hampton is considered to be built out. So if someone did want to build a large subdivision there, there's basically nowhere left to put it. So for you, the home buyer, this means most of our housing won't have the latest amenities or designs. If you want your home up to par with modern trends, then there's a solid chance you'll have to make those updates yourself. It also means we need to be wary of things like the edge of the roof, along with major mechanical systems like the HVAC. You never know what you're going to get with a home that's pushing 50 or 60 years old. Fortunately, I partnered with really great home inspectors who can help make sure you're getting into a great home. Pro number 3 is access to Langley Air Force Base and Newport News Shipyard. Langley Air Force Base is by far and away the largest employer in the city of Hampton, with over 10,000 military and civilian personnel. It's also the oldest continuously active air base in the United States. Locally, it's known as home of the F-22, which circle the skies on a near daily basis, though there's a whole lot more than that happening there, including the NASA Langley Research Center. Langley is an absolutely massive facility and is located on the northern end of the city, bordering York County and Poquoson, just to the north. Langley is easy to get to from just about anywhere in Hampton, with gates on both North Armistead and North King Street. The Newport News Shipyard is located along the southern shores of Newport News, just west of Hampton, and employs more than 25,000 people, making it the largest industrial employer in the state of Virginia. Ships have been built here for 137 years, from engineers to fabricators and electricians, to accountants and business development teams, just about every job imaginable exists at the shipyard. From the easternmost point of Hampton, you may have up to about a 30-minute commute, but along Hampton's western edge in a neighborhood like Wythe, you'll just be about 10 minutes to work. Con number 3 is flooding. As I'm sure you're aware, Hampton is a coastal city, and being on the coast means there's occasional flooding in low-lying areas, particularly during hurricane season. As a homeowner, this means that many properties in Hampton require flood insurance in addition to your normal homeowner's insurance. This could add $50 to say $200 per month to your mortgage. Areas that are particularly prone to flooding are Grandview and the greater Fox Hill area, which happen to be very popular locations, with Fox Hill being a big military community, while Grandview is a beachfront community. So for every property we look at in Hampton, we first need to check the maps to see if it's in a mandatory flood insurance zone. And if it is, we need to follow up with the listing agent to see how much the sellers are currently paying and if their policy is transferable. If not, I'll connect you with a great insurance agent that can get a policy in place for you. More importantly, you need to decide if you're willing to purchase a home that has a higher potential risk of flood damage. Sure, you may have insurance to cover any damage that does occur, but you may also be displaced from your home in the event of a major incident. So it's not quite as simple as whether or not you have coverage. Fortunately, we haven't had many flooding incidents in recent years, but who knows what the future will bring. The risk of flooding needs to be taken very seriously when purchasing a home in many parts of Hampton. Pro number 4 is housing prices. Despite the rise in housing prices across the country, Hampton has remained relatively affordable. In fact, I'd go so far as to say very affordable compared to much of the United States. The median sales price in the US right now is around $420,000, while the median sales price in Hampton is just $260,000. That's a huge difference. If you're coming here from a more expensive market, you may find yourself buying a home significantly less expensive than your current home, or making a serious upgrade over what you're currently in. Hampton also has a lot of waterfront housing. Not only does Hampton have beachfront homes, there are also several rivers and other bodies of water you can live along. So whether you'd like a beautiful historic home along Chesapeake Ave or a townhouse on the Hampton River, there are going to be a variety of options for you to live on the water at a fairly affordable price. The median price over the last 6 months for a waterfront home or a home with at least a water view is just $350,000, with a range of $156,000 up to $1.6 million for the most expensive home in the history of Hampton. Nothing else besides that one home has recently sold for over $1 million. So if you're in the market for something on the water, particularly with deep water access, Hampton is an awesome place to be. Con number 4 is a declining population. A sign that a city could be in trouble is the population declining year over year, particularly for an extended period of time. Most mid-sized cities and large cities in the United States have seen a population increase since the year 2000. But Hampton stands out as one of the few cities that's seen a population decrease. The population of Hampton peaked in the year 2000 at 146,600 residents. By the year 2020, the population had dropped to 137,100 residents. That might not seem like a lot, but in order for a city to be economically prosperous and for housing values to increase, you generally need to see the population grow. From a housing perspective, it's basic supply and demand. 9,000 less residents means 9,000 less potential buyers removed from the market. The population decrease may also be an indicator that the overall economy of Hampton isn't doing well. So if you're moving here for something other than being stationed at Langley or taking a job at the shipyard, you may want to make sure your industry is doing well here. Now that being said, we've seen a slight uptake in population from 2020 to 2023. So hopefully that's a good sign for years ahead. Pro number 5 is shopping. Because Hampton is mostly a middle-class bedroom community, you're not going to find too many fancy boutique-style stores, but you will find just about every big box store in the country. And what Hampton doesn't have, Newport News does, right up the street. So whether it's Walmart or Macy's, Home Depot and Lowe's, Bass Pro Shop, or the at-home store, you won't have trouble finding whatever you need nearby. Shopping in Hampton really starts at Peninsula Town Center, an outdoor city-style mall. Here you'll find large mall anchor stores, as well as clothing and sneaker stores, beauty salons, jewelry stores, and more. The space was formerly the Coliseum Mall, which was demolished and town center was built in 2009. So this is a fairly new shopping center that continues to grow. If you live in Hampton, Peninsula Town Center will be a mainstay of your life. Con number 5. It's just kind of disappointing. I don't know what else to say. Hampton should be an amazing place to live. When you take the time to weigh in the pros and the cons like we have in this video, it seems like Hampton should be great. A historic city with multiple beaches, great restaurants, and affordable housing, that sounds like a foundation of a pretty amazing place to live in. But there's something about Hampton that's just holding it back from fulfilling its full potential. I truly believe Hampton should be one of the premier cities in the Mid-Atlantic. People should travel here. The beaches should be filled with vacationers. Downtown should be overrun every night by the post-work crowd. It should show up on lists of best mid-sized cities in America. It should be this place that people are proud to call home. Yet there's this lack of a cohesive identity and culture that makes Hampton a disappointment. Hampton is filled with pockets of greatness. Fort Monroe is one of the truly special places in all of the United States, and it connects to Phoebus, where there are a bunch of great restaurants and fun things to do. Sounds like it should be the best place to live in the city, right? Yet somehow the neighborhoods around there aren't very nice at all. The historic neighborhood of Wythe is one of my top 5 favorite neighborhoods in all of Hampton Roads. Grandview is absolutely gorgeous. There are all these individual things I love about Hampton, yet they can't seem to come together to form a city with a cohesive identity. I'm not sure what the solution is, because there's a lot to love about living in Hampton. But until something changes, Hampton will always be just okay. I have many friends and clients who have helped buy homes in great neighborhoods throughout Hampton, but you'll rarely hear someone say that Hampton is the best town to live in Hampton Roads. You should though. Hampton has all the potential in the world to be an absolutely amazing, world-class city. It's just going to take more great people moving there, opening businesses, engaging with the community, and bringing it all together to be the great city that I know it can be. So there you have it. That's my completely honest assessment of the city of Hampton. There are some really wonderful things to love about the city, but there's definitely some room for improvement. What I found is that people who take advantage of the great things that Hampton has to offer, like the beaches, rivers, and great restaurants, love living in Hampton. And the people who just sit in their house and only experience Hampton through the lens of the occasional trip to 7-Eleven tend to not have the best opinion of the city. So from what I've experienced, it really depends on how you live your life there. If you have any questions or comments, please leave those below. I'll be sure to include some helpful links in the description, including a link to homes for sale in Hampton, so make sure to check those out. And if you're making a move to Hampton or the surrounding area, my team and I are here and we would love to help you out. You can call, text, or email us anytime. Before you go, don't forget to like this video, share it with anyone else you know who may find it helpful, and subscribe to this channel for more information on living in Hampton Roads. My name is David Tortellini. I'm with eXp Realty. Thanks so much for watching.